Welcome to news. I am Anne-Marie Jala. Coming up in tonight's edition, President Ernest Bai Koroma commissions the Education Broadcasting House. SLPP holds final campaign rally in the Western region. Former President of Nigeria debunks NGC's claim. And Sierra Leone Roads Authority doles out more than 4 billion as compensation to project-affected persons in Western area and the Southern region. All these and more coming up within the next hour. Do stay with us. Atulopan. Former President of the Republic of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, has debunked rumors of his endorsement of the presidential candidates of the National Grand Coalition, NGC. Let's listen.
I have been told of innocent comment on Yamkela being used as campaign issue in Sierra Leone. That's rather unfortunate because I was referring to the process which made Yamkela to become the head of UNIDO, and that is not in dispute. And I don't think I need to say anything adverse about anybody contesting election in any country in Africa. But whatever I say which is not adverse should not be used as me running any other candidate down, or be used to run any other political party down. And I will really not like my innocent and cautious statement about anybody to be used against anybody else or against any political party. I wish all the candidates in the Sierra Leonean election coming up on the 7th of March, I wish all of them well.
That was former President of the Republic of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, debunking rumors of his endorsement of the presidential candidate of the National Grand Coalition, NGC. Former Ghanaian President John Mahama, who is in Sierra Leone on the invitation of the Chairman, Political Parties Registration Commission, Justice Patrick Hamilton, has paid a courtesy call to President Ernest Bai Koroma at State House. Razia Bashkamara has the story.
So good to see you.
Yes, you're most welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Presenting his guests to the President, the Chairman Political Parties Registration Commission, Justice Patrick Hamilton, thanked the President for accommodating them to have audience with him despite his tight schedule. He informed President Nkrumah that as a commission, they have invited former President of Ghana, John Mahama, to the commission so that he will meet with the flag bearers in the forthcoming election and political parties. The former Ghanaian President, John Mahama, also expressed thanks to President Nkrumah for giving them the opportunity to call on him, adding that his visit to work with the PPRC at this particular time is an honor for him. He also appreciated the President for the cooperation they enjoyed while they were colleagues as President of Ghana and Sierra Leone, noting that even when he left office, he continued to enjoy the President's extreme friendship. Remembering when he was ECOWAS chairman, President Mahama said Sierra Leone's economy was picking up very fast and was the fastest growing economy in West Africa. Recalling his visit to Sierra Leone during the Ebola crisis, the former Ghanaian president disclosed that he saw how President Nkrumah was aggrieved instantly and how he was battling to contain the crisis. He pointed out that the president's efforts were very much appreciated and eventually the response of the international community working together with the president, they were able to contain the situation. Speaking on his visit to Sierra Leone, President Mahama informed President Nkrumah that the PPRC has invited him to interact with the political stakeholders to ensure that the elections are peaceful, and he accepted their invitation to bring whatever influence he could bear to let the political leaders understand that in any contest, one person will emerge as winner and another will lose.
And I know that Sierra Leone has gone through 3 elections already after the Civil War, and they've largely been peaceful. We all expect that this will be successful too, but we cannot take things for granted. Even in Ghana, we've had elections since 1992. We've gone past our 7th election, and yet anytime elections are coming, people are concerned about being able to maintain the peace. And I think that we cannot drum that home enough. And so whatever experience I'm going to bring to bear to see how we can continue to reinforce the message of peace. I believe that the political stakeholders have a responsibility, especially the leaders, to ensure that the elections are peaceful. As I said, the country will be the winner, Sierra Leone will be the winner, but also all of them will be winners, because one person will emerge as president, the others would also have a role to play in terms of giving a credible opposition and ensuring that the government is kept on its toes.
Welcoming his former colleague, President Nkrumah commended him for the PPRC's zeroing on him to come in and share his experience with Sierra Leone and to continue the engagement the Commission is having with the political parties, especially as the country is now a little over a week to elections. The President stated that the issues they have to look at now as a Commission are many, but firstly, they have to consider the elections as part of the peace consolidation process. He noted that as a commission, they have to look at the issues of peace, being directly charged with the responsibility to run the affairs of the elections. President Nkrumah said a lot of progress has been made by the PPRC, despite the fact that they have the serious challenge of dealing with political parties. The President said notwithstanding the challenges, they have been coping to build the institution and still engage political parties. On the area of the National Electoral Commission, he noted with satisfaction that the Commission has gone a long way, because when he came into office, he insisted that the appointment of commissioners should not be done outside the Commission anymore.
Political parties and everybody has been preparing for the elections, but of course you must have isolated cases of security challenge, political intolerance here and there, and I think that is why the PPRC was established. And I must say that he has been through a very difficult period. to address issues of inter-party relationship and the intra-party relationship. And I think he has spent a good portion of his time looking at how political parties resolve their issues. We are happy that at least all of the political parties have now resolved their internal issues, and we have gone through the process of selection of candidates. Not all of them we are able to select candidates for all of the
President Ernest Bai Koroma has commissioned the Education Broadcasting House of the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology at New England Ville. President Koroma said he was heartened to be at the event. Razia Bashkamara reports.
We are commissioning this education building. Recently, it was a first, a scheme that which is also another first, also geared towards supporting the enhancement of quality health delivery in our country. And yet today, a few days on, I am here to commission the first education broadcasting house in the country, and also the first radio station.
As the 2018 elections draw closer, the APC campaign effort has intensified. The First Lady, who hails from Kana, has been reminding the people of Kana of the development projects the APC has brought to the districts. Kojokwa.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen and people of Kono. Now be big honor for me for they are with me life for say a few words to una as we count down to election. This na very important moment. Now we call the countdown towards the election. Kono na land we blessed. We all know the story. Kono na land we don't taste the bitterness and the sweetness of life. I now can remind you of sad happenings, but always for the remember the past, for Lord use the present, for plan the future ahead. Amen. So Kono, if we been asleep, let all man wake, let all man grab. Sure. Kono na part of APC party. We all know that the benefits we don't get from the district, more so not through the APC. We all remember the Wamanabu road we get. What they do 4 hours from Freetown to Kono. But then solid Mercedes in those days, Yazbeg garage, we almost bends the commodity. When that road they disappear. After all the death we don't get, nobody no make her. Fast food that. Tell them. The Koroma of APC party, now they can now not cover the dust. First tell as I can reach Magudu, I for don't take 2 Panadol because that's making day with me. Till I reach to Modu na I can with. But today, at the evening can sit down and pala and receive people there. Lord tell Papa God thank you. Lord tell the APC party thank you. And personally, I want them to come with them people there all night. Join me for tell President Nkrumah thank you. So we as a district, as a people, as a tribe, as a nation, we get the same name, we for take politics seriously. This is the APC party meeting. I know they talk about other party, now me own party are the talk about. We are the wise people them for we own generation. Because we know they follow sentiment. We know they follow say because my grandpa be there and that, my granny be there and that, so now they are the left. We are wise people them. We they follow development. Yes. If APC party, if the party not be they do the right thing, who never know me, who already there, our sister, our brother them. Who now for no say, me, not be for support them. When we ready for take power from the SLPP, my papa na minister under Pakaba, and negotiate with our teller. I say we dey on a new road. Me the support and Nkrumah for our witnesses then there. We meet now, we divide for not two. We attempt the election 202, we lost. Now I promise and say we dey win 207. If I can tell me by we score sheet with all the machinations. The past says here, congratulations, now they win the 207 election. I tell you, so me appeal to una today. I go start with two brother them. We want them banging together. Some of them are faith, now God. Anyhow, the God na their points. Now they go represent we in our parliament. Una take politics seriously. Una take una fellow man seriously. The ward councillors them una get the work. For court, una people there, now the word see that eligible voters vote. Radio then you now all the modalities. Let the weak and the feeble vote first. Some can say that young man they vote quick, but do ya una abide by time. And me get one thing I can tell people they all man, and this election are glad you they enforce all man for vote who side day. Not begin say I come and them, but if I can't go do I go vote this sometimes they will allow me for go vote in Asando. All them do they not possible. This is a valuable time. But as a Tinapia, personally, I thank the people of Kono and all the operatives. Thank you for supporting.
Detail of that story will be aired in a subsequent newscast. The presidential candidate of the Sierra Leone People's Party, retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio, has said his contribution to the restoration of peace and democracy should be considered as a factor for his election as president. Retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio made this statement during the SLPP final rally in the Western region, which saw thousands of supporters in attendance. Our very own Awa Mosie followed the rally and our reports.
The Sierra Leone People's Party vice presidential candidate, Dr. Mohamed Jude Jallow, was given a warm welcome
We apologize for that little technical itch there. The Executive Director of Institute of Governance Reforms, Andrew Lavalley, has warned the Krube community not to allow politics or petty party colors to bring division among them. He was speaking at a one-day engagement at the Krube Community Center. The one-day session is in line with the pre-launch of a report titled The State's Capture on the Challenges of the New Government. Doreen Barry has the story.
The Institute of Governance Reforms ahead of the launching of a report titled The State Capture on the Challenges of the New Government met with the Kube community to educate them on how they will help improve the country's economy by voting in a government that will always consider and involve the people on every decision to be taken. However, the Kube community outlined flooding, congestion and lack of social amenities as the main issues affecting them. The Executive Director of Institute of Governance Reforms, Andrew Lavalley, told the people that they are a non-political organization. He said that elections are held every 5 years in Sierra Leone for people to vote in those who will address issues affecting them. He said that gone are the days when people should cast in their vote based on political colors or tribalism, but should consider the country first. Mr. Lavalley said that ahead of the elections, they have put together a report on how the new government will address challenges faced by the past government. He told the people that during elections, it is important for them to question political heads on plans they have for them rather than jubilating and fighting each other. He told the people that up till now, the country is still experiencing austerity. Therefore, it is important that they vote in leaders that will always include them in decision-making. Concerned people within the Kube community commended the Institute of Governance Reforms for such an educative forum, which is of relevance to them at this time of electioneering. They called on politicians to provide solutions on how they will address flooding as their properties are always destroyed by the rains, adding that the establishment of recreational facilities is of essence to their community.
The presidential candidate of the Sierra Leone People's Party, retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio, has said his contribution to the restoration of peace and democracy should be considered as a factor for his election as president. Retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio made this statement during the SLPP final rally in the Western region, which saw thousands of supporters in attendance. Our very own Hawa Mosiri has the story.
The presidential candidate of the Sierra Leone People's Party, retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio, in his message informed SLPP supporters that he has contributed a lot to Sierra Leone for the restoration of peace and democracy during the country's trying times. This, he said, makes him the fitted candidate to be elected as president of Sierra Leone. The Sierra Leone People's Party presidential candidate described himself as the people's leader that will ensure quality education, health and good governance.
Now we call an election, but it is actually decision time. Decision about the future of the land that we love, Sierra Leone. Decision about we won't picking them. Decision about we picking and picking them. We got to take it seriously. This election is about the future of this country. And therefore, when you take them, you remember twice. If you don't remember, you say, remember you picking, or you picking and picking. Why you got to choose a good leader? A good leader make a lot of difference. And here is why I say, like my campaign manager said, I present the best opportunity to make Salone go better. Why? When I go count on me word, because when I know say, me, not only the most enduring political figure for the past 24 years,
Thousands of the Sierra Leone People's Party supporters turned out in huge numbers to run up the Fana Party campaign trail in the western region. Members of the party converged at the east and the west end of Freetown, chanting songs of support for their presidential candidate during the rally, before converging at the National Stadium to get their political message from their leader. The Sierra Leone People's Party presidential candidates commended party stalwarts and supporters who made it possible for the final rally in the western region to be successful.
We call this nation your attention for the need for unity and for stay together. Tonight, not any exception. So I want to assure right from the outset the international community and the people of Sierra Leone for say the Sierra Leone People's Party ready for a peaceful election, stress-free election, and we know no violence. One country. We know no violence for this election. We know no Yuki. We don't promise, as the oldest party, we get a moral obligation to make sure that this nation remains a peaceful country, because we, as a party, now we fight for peace, now we fight for independence, now we don't secure the democracy that we enjoy today.
The vice presidential candidate, Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallow, told supporters that the huge turnout of members for the final rally is a clear manifestation that SLPP will win the forthcoming elections.
We thank them. The rally in Freetown today, we don't say one clear message to the people of Sierra Leone. Say, we don't say other things. But this time here, so, Churundolo get place now. One country. When you look at the country today, you see how the APC government don't spoil the school business. When you look at the country today, you see how the APC government they make people in the suffer. When you look at the country today, you see how young boys and young girls and they punish for their work. When you look at the country today, you see how people in the really suffer for heat. When you look at the country today, particularly in Freetown, you see how the people of Freetown they suffer for even get water for drink. I swear to God, they look cold and you pronounce
Dr. Julde Jallow appealed to supporters to continue voter education and mobilization in their various constituencies to make sure that the party wins the elections, as there are a lot of opportunities on the way for citizens. National chairman and leader of the Sierra Leone People's Party, Dr. Prince Alex Harding, also thanked the different constituency chairmen in organizing the campaign and encouraged supporters to turn out on voting day.
Because the theme of my program today, the 1 million march to power. The 1 million march to power. And what I see today, we pass 1 million march. And then what is the point? The 1 million march, the people who are today, they all are voters, they all get a voter ID card. What is the difference between we all 1 million march plus and the other one day? The one that I will respond to them.
Dr. Ali Kaba is the national campaign chairman of the Sierra Leone People's Party. He described the final rally as a historic milestone of the party as supporters left their busy schedules to take part. He also reminded supporters to keep their voter ID cards safe to enable them cast their votes on March 7. Some supporters of the Sweden People's Party expressed satisfaction over the huge turnout to grace the final rally of their party in the Western region. Also, BCTV News are in Freetown. Hawamosue reporting.
The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, has provided a large consignment of assorted cleaning tools to the Krube community for constant cleaning of the community. The donation comes out of the fact that Krube is at the receiving end of most of the dirt that come from some parts of the country. The presentation was done at the Baye of the community chief. Sheka Sumaila has a story.
Is one of the largest slums in this capital and one of the disaster-prone communities in the city. Sanitation is very poor here, as they are at the receiving end of most of the dirt that come from the drainages, especially Samba Gota. People up Freetown practice poor disposal of refuse. Garbage from Greater Freetown are emptied here because instead of dumping garbage at the landfill site or transit points, people just dump their waste into the drainages. And when it rains, communities along the coast are in trouble. These items, which include shovels, wheelbarrows, rain boots, rakes, and headpans, are meant to clean this community. The support came after a request from the Krube Community Steering Committee to the Environment Protection Agency. The chairman of the Krube Steering Committee, More Ali Conte, commended EPA for the support, as the community needs regular cleaning exercise because they are always at the receiving end of dirt from the city.
You say you don't reach for low take responsibility. If anything happens to now, exactly it affects. Not to them who they are. So the time that perception in our follow begin change, then they say we are really responsible. So this count with any money, for saying they can't give money for to do a cleaning exercise. Would you mind say this we forget them? Follow we always make sure we community clean.
The chief of Krube, Pa Alimamika, will also thank EPA for the cleaning tools and assured that they will be used for the intended purpose. The public relations manager of EPA, James Tamba Kamara, said the tools are meant to clean the environment and must be used for such. He said when the environment is clean, diseases are avoided.
Well, we are here today from the Environment Protection Agency to deliver cleaning tools, assorted tools, to the people of Krube to assist them in their cleaning exercise of their community. As you can see, one of the major challenges in this community is that of plastic waste coming from various parts of the city. So sometime last year, the executive chairperson of the Environment Protection Agency, Madam Arida Tujalo, received a request from the community to assist them with various tools to help them in their cleaning exercise.
The people say they are determined to clean.
Betty Musa is a 66-year-old Sierra Leonean woman born as a congenital with no hands. Amidst the absence of her hands, she is known for her proficiency to plait women and do other household chores. Life has been tough for her. Our own Awa Bai has been finding out about Betty Musa.
Betty Musa is getting ready for her usual Sunday service at the Action Chapel at Kutam Road. She was saved from death by some white missionaries when her own parents abandoned her under a cotton tree in Jodrema village, Kainlaon district, for 3 days. Everyone thought she was a devil.
My people were so scared of me, they said, because born without arms, I was evil. I was some kind of devil. So they decided to go and lay me under the cotton tree. And then maybe the devil will come and take back its property. So then, that's what he did. I spent about 3 days there. I never returned. They took me from there, brought me to the town, made the town cry and shouted, Lord said, well, Hawa has given birth to a child without arms. She's not a human being, she's a devil.
At age 4, her parents were happy to give her away to the white missionaries who took her to Penhurst National Children's Home in Chipping Norton, outside Oxford in the UK. Betty spent her teenage life in the UK. At 20, when her scholarship ended, she came back to Freetown where she attended the Annie Walsh Memorial Secondary School, but was unable to complete her 5th form, which she regrets till this day.
I failed in my exam. I didn't complete school. I just managed to get up to Form 5. I got pregnant. That's my first daughter.
Because she had an extra mouth to feed, she found work as a secretary at the Ministry of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs. She worked at the ministry for 16 years as a contract staff. Having worked at the ministry for nearly 2 decades, she was never promoted nor made a permanent staff. Her next option was showbiz.
I came to know Betty in the entertainment industry. I remember Betty was in Conakry, Guinea. When she returned from Conakry, Guinea, there was no way out for her, only to go into entertainment because Betty has a lot of talents, you know, even though she's disabled, but she can do something which maybe ordinary somebody cannot be able to do it.
Shortly afterwards, she had Adonis, her second child. Adonis has always been with his mom. She took him everywhere.
Because of her, I gained a lot of opportunities. Plenty people came to my aid. Plenty people helped me out. You know, I can't even remember all those that helped me just because of her. One example is the Sierra Leone Embassy. I gained respect there just because of her, because I was so close to my mom. I was glued to my mom. Wherever she goes, I go there. Whatever she does, I do it with her. You know, because of that, you know, people just give me the respect. Up till now, I'm seeing some that I used to know in Guinea. I'm seeing them here. They still give me the respect because I was, you know, I was faithful to my mom.
Betty has no source of income for now. And what makes her miserable is that she has no accommodation at the moment. Her son is not financially strong to take care of her mother's needs. In times like this, she believes the Disabled Commission should come to her aid.
We are not a social welfare institution. We are a policy implementation body. However, we work closely with our parent body, the Ministry of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs, and it is that body that should really handle specifically social welfare issues.
Most disabled people in Sierra Leone are faced with the problem of shelter. Some sleep on the streets of Freetown while others squat in public buildings. Will there be an end to the problem of shelter for persons with disability?
The issue of shelter is equally a challenge, not only in Sierra Leone but in Africa and equally elsewhere, because shelter is a strategic decision taken by government. And you know, because of our recent history, a lot of infrastructure damage was done during the war. We have been looking at specific areas of development, and shelter has been one area that we've had challenges, but in a way, as the commission was set up, we have been looking seriously in the aspect of shelter for disabled people.
Because of the hard times, Betty smokes and drinks to forget her problems, though the vicissitudes of life keep haunting her. Who will wipe her tears will be a real friend in need. Until Betty gets help, smoking will be her only source of courage for now.
Many thanks to Hawa Bari for that interesting piece. In the latest development of its activities, the Sierra Leone Roads Authority has doled out more than 4.5 billion loans as compensation to project-affected persons in the western area and in the southern region. The compensation exercise was witnessed by local dignitaries and other stakeholders. Ransford Kabia reports.
Payment of compensation to affected property owners is a key component in financing roads projects in Sierra Leone. In donor-funded projects, it constitutes the counterpart funding that is provided by the home government. The government in all projects, whether locally funded or donor-funded, has to provide certain facilities necessary for the smooth implementation of such projects. These facilities include borough pits, quarries, campsites, and provision of the road corridors that may require the demolition of structures and destruction of economic crops. In the latest development, the Sierra Leone Roads Authority has doled out more than 4.5 billion loans to project-affected persons in western area and in the southern region. In Freetown, about 2 billion loans was disbursed to affected property owners in Femi Turner Drive on the Tokelamle Road and the Atlantic Juba Road. The Atlantic Juba Road is a component of the Freetown City Road Phase 2, and according to the SLA project manager, Engineer Samuel Lewis, the road will help to ease the traffic congestion in Lumley by providing a bypass route. The Western Area representative to the SLRA Board of Directors, Rosalind McThompson, commended the government of Sierra Leone for its resolve in providing connectivity in both the rural and urban communities and fulfilling its promise by paying compensation to property owners at a time when the government is faced with serious financial challenges. On the Bandar-Juma-Liberia border road, 1 billion loans was paid to affected property owners in Gondama, Bandar-Juma and Muala. In Gondama and Bandar-Juma, payments were made to property owners affected by the alignment of the bridges. In Muala, on the Bandar-Suma ferry crossing, payment was also made for economic trees and structures as well as for the campsites at Zimi, the quarry at Vama, and other mini quarries. The Bandar-Juma-Liberia Road is a 105-kilometer road linking Sierra Leone and Liberia. It forms part of the Trans-West African Highway and is funded by the European Union. The project has 2 separate components divided into 3 lots and was awarded to CSE, working in a joint partnership with a French company, Matière, a bridge specialist. The first component is the construction of 105-kilometer road on the entire stretch, and the other, the construction of 3 bridges. The works on both of these components are at advanced stages. The Siwa River Bridge in Gondama is at an advanced stage of construction, as well as the Wanje River Bridge in Bandar-Juma. Works on the Moa River Bridge also is in progress, and about 15 kilometers of the road has been paved. Earthworks and bush clearing have gone beyond Zimi. The Director General of the Sierra Leone Roads Authority, Memuna Kumbajalo, while addressing stakeholders in these communities, commended the chiefs for what she described as a great national service, encouraging their people to exercise patience with government. She noted that the amount received for their property was less than their market value, but appealed to them to look at the benefits to be derived from the construction of the road, especially in the area of corporate social responsibility. She further appealed to them to take ownership of the project and continue to provide the necessary support to both the contractor and the Sierra Leone Roads Authority for the speedy implementation of the project. At Koribondo in the Bo district, about 600 million leones was paid to landowners for outright purchase of land for the construction of a campsite on the Bo Bandajuma Road. The 47-kilometer road project is funded by the African Development Bank and OFID, with the government of Sierra Leone providing counterpart funding in the form of payment of compensation. The contract is awarded to China Henan International Corporation Group, Chico. The contractor has substantially mobilized and works will commence shortly. Payment of compensation amounting to about 1.1 billion leones has also been disbursed to property owners in Moyamba Junction and Mashiaka for the acquisition of Borough Pit and other strategic areas on the Moyamba Junction-Moyamba Road and the four bridges, the Magbele Bridge, Mabang Bridge, Bangbama Bridge and the Bailey Bridge in Moyamba. The Deputy Director General Salawe Sir Ernest Bembo described the project as very challenging and blamed the Portuguese company MSF for the delay. He, however, assured stakeholders that the new contractor CS that has been selected for the project has the capacity to execute the project within the specified time frame. Works on this project will commence in the next few days, he concluded.
A two-day sub-regional workshop on cross-border trade and gender issues has ended at the Mano River Union Secretariat, Port Loup. The aim of the workshop was to propose concrete steps and activities that will be implemented to promote gender empowerment and cross-border trade facilitation for each member state. Participants are drawn from the Mano River Union countries. Here's the report.
The world is seen to be on a new trend calling for the empowerment of women at all levels in order for them to be productive and self-reliant in their various fields. The Mano River Union is no exception to this new trend. According to reports, women constitute more than 50% of the population of the Mano River Union member states, and they contribute significantly to the economies of member states and their households, but yet still face challenges that impedes on their productivity and profitability in their businesses. Secretary General of the MRE Secretariat, Ambassador Medina Wese, said this workshop is coming as a result of a study that was conducted on women's economic activity in border communities of the sub-region. Challenges such as harassment of all forms, deplorable living conditions, and lack of medical facilities at border posts, poor road network, lack of credit facilities with banks and other financial institutions, level of education and training, and discriminatory laws that exclude women from owning land are captured by the study. These challenges, she added, are undoubtedly serious obstacles to the success of cross-border trade. Ambassador Medina Wese said these challenges are what give rise to the project Support to Women Cross-Border Trades in the Mano River Union, with support from the African Fund for Trade through the African Development Bank. The overall objective is to facilitate trade between MRE with special focus on women across the borders to improve their performance and their trade competitiveness. To achieve these goals, special emphasis must be placed on the following: capacity building, creation of information desks at border posts, and eliminate bottlenecks at all levels that serves as deterrents to economic empowerment of women, among others. Country manager informed that the current project cost over $456,000, which is geared towards contributing to the growth of intra-regional trade and empower women cross-border traders in the MRE sub-region with a view of enhancing their income-earning capacity. The vision of the African Development Bank is for a stable, integrated and prospering continent of competitive diversified and sustainable growing economies with a strategy of supporting regional infrastructure development and enhancing industrialization and trade. Despite all these efforts to facilitate trade on national and regional fronts, there are still fragmented areas.
Africa continues to lag behind and is by far the region where exporting is the most onerous and affected by time delays. Burdensome customs procedures constitute one of the biggest constraints weighing on African business international competitiveness, and the money revenue is no exception. I expect that participants will make efforts in unbundling the challenges to cross-border trade and propose concrete steps and activities that will be implemented to promote gender empowerment and cross-border trade facilitation for each member country.
She added that for Africa and the MRE region to achieve the goal of boosting trade within and beyond their borders, it must make a leap from the current inefficient trade logistics. Charles Vande is the Director of Gender Affairs in the Ministry of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs. He explained the strides made by the government so far to ensure that women's empowerment is achieved at all levels.
So what we have done over time is to ensure that the policies and the laws that are put in place will support the empowerment of women themselves. So in 2000, the government of Sierra Leone actually developed the National Policy for the Advancement of Women, and that advancement of women is actually looking at various sectorial aspects, ranging from agriculture, education, health, peace, conflict management, and several others. We also did the National Policy on Gender Mainstreaming to ensure that whatever sectorial issues we are handling, gender is mainstream into all of those components.
He added that for the economy to thrive, women must have control over productive resources. It is against this backdrop that the Lands Ministry has developed a land policy that gives women the right to own and control land, but there are few clauses in the 1991 Constitution that needs to be expunged. As part of their commitment in ensuring the economic empowerment of women, a project called Business Incubator for African Women Entrepreneurs, funded by Spanish NEPAD, is currently being implemented in Kwendu in the Kailon district. It also seeks to ensure that the economic cohesion of the MRE states is fostered. He pledged that government will stay committed in ensuring that the women of Sierra Leone are fully capacitated in all aspects. Delivering his keynote address on behalf of the Minister of Finance, Development Officer Mori Momo said it is clear that the issue of cross-border trade is faced with increasing challenges, and women are mostly the ones that suffer the brunt of it. MRE countries have gone through conflict and instability, which has had adverse effects on the economies of member states, but with support from development partners, they have been able to kickstart their economies.
So in the news, the main points again. President Ernest Bai Koroma has commissioned the Education Broadcasting House of the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. SLPP has held its final campaign rally in the Western region. Former President of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, has debunked claims of endorsing NGC's presidential candidates. And the Sierra Leone Roads Authority has doled out more than 4 billion as compensation to project-affected persons in Western area and the Southern region. Well, that's it for this hour's news hour, broadcast live on the SLBC in Freetown. On behalf of my news editor, Ibrahim Mansari, I am Anne-Marie Jallo. Thanks for watching and keep watching.